Imagine for a second a random Friday afternoon. You just finished a grueling 40-hour work week. You get that notification on your phone, your direct deposit just hit. It's your standard paycheck, let's say $2,500. You look at it, and immediately, your brain goes into defense mode. You think about the rent, the car payment, the grocery bill, and maybe, if you're disciplined, that $200 you're supposed to move into your Roth IRA or individual retirement account funded with after-tax dollars. It feels like heavy money. It's hard-earned. You're protective of it. But then, you open your physical mail and find a tax refund check you forgot was coming. Or maybe it's a surprise bonus from your boss for a project you killed last month. It's also for $2,500. Here's the thing, mathematically, those two piles of cash are identical. They have the exact same purchasing power. They can both buy the same amount of S&P 500 index funds or the same amount of high-interest debt payoff. But be honest with me. Do you feel the same way about that bonus check? Most of us don't. For some reason, that bonus feels like play money. It feels lighter. Within 48 hours, you've probably convinced yourself that you deserve a treat. Suddenly, you're looking at new golf clubs, a designer handbag, or a weekend getaway. That right there, that's literally you being hijacked by your own biology. Welcome back to the channel. Today, we're moving away from the boring spreadsheets and the stop buying lattes advice. We're going deep into the psychology of behavioral money triggers. I'm going to show you why your brain is hardwired to treat a windfall differently than wages, and how this single psychological glitch, along with 4 others, is the invisible ceiling keeping you from your next net worth milestone. Now, you might be thinking, I'm pretty smart with money. I know $1 is $1. But here's what most people don't realize, your brain wasn't built for a world of digital banking and compound interest. It was built for survival on the savannah. Our ancestors didn't have savings accounts. If they found a literal windfall, like a fruit tree or a fallen animal, they had to consume it immediately before it rotted or someone else took it. We are walking around with 200,000-year-old hardware trying to run 2026 financial software. And it is glitching hard. Common financial wisdom tells us that humans are rational actors. We're taught that if we just have the right information, the right math, we'll make the right choices. But if that were true, nobody would smoke, everyone would exercise, and nobody would have credit card debt. Look, the math of wealth is actually dead simple. If you invest $500 a month into an index fund averaging 8% returns, you'll have over $1 million in 35 years. That's not a secret. It's a calculator function. The reason people aren't wealthy isn't a lack of math. It's a lack of behavioral control. Let's dive into that first big glitch, mental accounting. This term was coined by Nobel Prize-winning economist Richard Thaler. It describes our tendency to put money into different mental buckets based on where it came from or what we intend to do with it. Think about it like this. Imagine you're at a casino. You walk in with $100 of your hard-earned money. You play a slot machine and, by some miracle, you win $500. What do most people do? They start betting much more aggressively. They call it playing with the house money. This is where it gets really interesting. There is no such thing as house money. Once that $500 is in your hand, it belongs to your net worth. It's your money. But your brain labels it differently because you didn't work for it in the traditional sense. Let's look at the real-world cost of this. A study from the Journal of Economic Behavior and Organization found that people are significantly more likely to spend unexpected gains on luxury goods than they are to spend regular income. Let's say over the course of 5 years, you receive various windfalls, tax refunds, birthday cash, small bonuses. Totaling, say, $15,000. Scenario A, the brain glitch, you spend that $15,000 on treats, dinners, gadgets, a slightly nicer vacation. Total value after 5 years, $0. Scenario B, the rational move, you treat that $15,000 exactly like your paycheck and invest it into a total stock market fund. At a conservative 7% annual return, that $15,000, without you adding a single penny more, becomes $29,500 in 10 years, $58,000 in 20 years, over $114,000 in 30 years. That little tax refund you blew on a new TV didn't just cost you $1,500. It cost you the $12,000 it would have been worth by the time you retired. Actionable step: next time you get a windfall, wait 72 hours. Your brain's arousal state regarding the new money needs time to cool down. Use the 90/10ths rule: take 90% of the windfall and apply it directly to your highest financial priority like debt or investing, and use only 10% for that treat you're craving. This satisfies the primitive brain while protecting the future you. Have you ever walked into a clothing store and seen a jacket marked, was $400 now only $150? Even if you weren't looking for a jacket, and even if $150 is actually a bit much for that specific brand, your brain screams, deal. This is anchoring bias. Your brain latches onto the first piece of information it receives, the $400 price tag, and uses it as a reference point for everything that follows. Here's what most people don't realize: you are anchoring your lifestyle to your peers and your past self every single day. The relative wealth trap. If you make $100,000 a year but live in a neighborhood where everyone makes $250,000, you will feel poor. You will feel a biological urge to catch up. Conversely, if you make $60,000 but everyone around you makes $40,000, you'll feel like a king. Your brain doesn't care about the absolute number in your bank account, it cares about your relative status. This is why lifestyle creep is so deadly. As your income increases, your anchor moves. Let's say you get a $10,000 raise. The average person moves into a slightly nicer apartment or trades in their car for a higher monthly payment. They anchor their spending to their new income. The result: their savings rate stays at 5%. If you make $60,000 and save 5%, you're saving $3,000 a year. If you make $100,000 and save 5%, you're saving $5,000 a year. Look, at that rate, you will never be free. You are just running faster on a treadmill that's also speeding up. Actionable step: use inverse anchoring. Instead of anchoring your spending to your gross income, anchor your life to your base expenses from 3 years ago. Every time you get a raise, automate 70% of it to go directly into your brokerage account before it even hits your checking. If you never see the money, your brain can't anchor to it. Why is it so hard to save for a retirement that's 30 years away, but so easy to buy a $6 latte right now? It's called hyperbolic discounting. Basically, our brains are terrible at valuing things across time. We discount the value of a reward the further it is in the future. We would rather have $100 today than $110 a month from now, even though that's a 120% annual return, a deal any hedge fund manager would kill for. This is the classic Stanford marshmallow experiment play out in your adult life. This is where it gets really interesting. Neurologically, when you think about your future self, your brain processes it in the same region it uses to think about a complete stranger. When you decide to spend money instead of saving it, your brain doesn't feel like it's stealing from you. It feels like it's taking money away from some random person you don't even know and giving it to you, the present self, right now. Now, suppose you're 25. You decide to spend $200 a month on a car payment for a vehicle that's nicer than you actually need. To your present self, that $200 buys status and comfort today. To your future self at age 65, that $200 a month, invested at 8%, is worth $622,000. You are literally handing a stranger, your future self, a bill for over $500,000 just so you can drive a slightly shinier car to work this morning. You need to make your future self real. There are apps that use AI to age your face. Use one. Put a photo of old you on your fridge or inside your wallet. Research shows that when people are forced to visualize their aged self, their propensity to save increases significantly. You have to stop treating your future self like a stranger. Have you ever sat through a terrible movie at a theater just because you paid $15 for the ticket? Or stayed in a relationship that you knew was dead just because you'd put in 3 years? That's the sunk cost fallacy. In finance, this is what keeps people poor by making them hold on to losing investments or money pit cars. Here's the thing, the money you spent is gone. It's sunk. Whether you leave the movie theater or stay, that $15 is not coming back. The only thing you're deciding now is whether you want to waste 2 more hours of your life. In your portfolio, this looks like holding a stock that has dropped 50%. You tell yourself, I can't sell it until I get back to even. Wait, why? If that company is failing, the best thing you can do is take the remaining 50% and put it into something that actually has growth potential. But your brain perceives the realized loss as a physical wound. Imagine you have $5,000 in a stock that is crashing. It's now worth $2,500. You stay in it for 3 years, hoping it breaks even. It stays flat. After 3 years, you have $2,500. If you had sold it, accepted the pain, and moved the $2,500 into an index fund averaging 10%, after 3 years you'd have $3,327. By trying to save face with your ego, you lost an additional $827. Ask yourself the clean slate question. If I woke up today with the cash equivalent of this investment, car, project, would I buy it again at its current price? If the answer is no, sell it immediately. Don't throw good money after bad. Finally, we have to talk about the most powerful force in human psychology, social proof. We are pack animals. Historically, being cast out of the tribe meant certain death. So, our brains are wired to scan the environment and do what everyone else is doing. The problem: in 2026, everyone else is broke. According to recent data, nearly 60% of Americans are living paycheck to paycheck. Total household debt is at record highs, topping $17 trillion. If you are doing what normal people do, you are headed for a financial disaster. Here's what most people don't realize: we are being subconsciously programmed by invisible scripts. These are the things we do because we think that's just how it's done. You have to buy a house as soon as you get a job. You need a new car once the warranty on the old one expires. You have to have a big wedding to show your family you're successful. These aren't financial decisions, they are social signals. Now, let's compare the so-called normal versus weird people. The normal person buys a $45,000 SUV with a 7% interest rate over 72 months. The monthly payment is about $760. They do this every 6 years. As to the weird person, they buy a reliable 5-year-old sedan for $15,000 cash. They drive it for 10 years. Instead of a $760 car payment, they invest that $760 into a brokerage account. Over 30 years, the so-called normal person has owned 5 shiny SUVs and has a net worth of nearly zero in car equity. The weird person, that $760 monthly investment, at an 8% return, has grown into $1.1 million. Look, it's a choice. You can look rich now, or you can be rich later. You can't do both unless you're starting with a massive inheritance. Audit your circle. If all your friends spend their weekends at malls or expensive brunches complaining about their bosses, you're going to find it nearly impossible to break these glitches. Find a community, online or in person, where the social proof is about high savings rates and dividend growth. Change your tribe, change your life. We've covered a lot today. We talked about how mental accounting makes you blow windfalls. Anchoring keeps you spending more as you earn more. Hyperbolic discounting makes your future self a stranger. Sunk cost fallacy keeps you tied to losing bets. Social proof makes you follow the broke masses. Here's the bottom line: you cannot math your way out of a behavioral problem. You can have the best spreadsheet in the world, but if you don't understand the glitches in your 200,000-year-old brain, you will always be one impulse buy or windfall away from staying exactly where you are. But now, you have the source code. You can see the glitches as they happen. When you get that next bonus, and you feel that urge to spend it, I want you to stop. I want you to say out loud, "That's just my mental accounting glitch." When you see your neighbor bring home a brand new Tesla and you feel that twinge of jealousy, say, "That's just anchoring bias trying to steal my future." The path to wealth isn't about being a genius. It's about being slightly less impulsive than everyone else. It's about having the courage to be weird today so you can be free tomorrow. If this video opened your eyes to a specific habit you've been struggling with, do me a favor, drop a comment below. Which of these 5 glitches is your biggest money trigger? I'd love to hear your stories. I read almost every single one of them. You have the tools. You have the math. Now, go master your mind. I'll see you in the next one.